So in terms of our memoir, we're going to explore this question. Where do I start when my whole life is the material? Now, if you're anything like me, you have amassed a lot of experiences and a lot of wisdom. And, when you've lived anywhere between, I don't know, I'm going to say 40 and 60 something. However, you could be 20 and feeling this. You know, in all those years, you will have loved and lost, bought houses, moved houses, changed careers, buried people, raised people, and started over again more times than you care to count. And the question is like, how on earth do I write about it? So what you do is you sit at your computer, you've got your fingers poised, and you think, right. If you're anything like me, your eyes will be wandering off all over the place, going, where on earth do I start? Because my whole life is the material. Now, it may be that your problem is the opposite, that you don't draw a blank. You don't sit and think, like, where do I start? Because I've got so much. You've got an absolute flood. You've got 12 possible books, 40 possible openings, and no idea which slice of life really matters or why. Now, I'm not really sure which is the best problem to have. I rarely have a blank page moment. My problem is I got so many stories. It's like, where do I start? So they look like different problems, but oddly they're not. And they're the same one, but they're just wearing different shoes. And I'm sure you have many shoe stories, as I do too. So let's kind of have a look at what's going on. So you're standing at what you think is the beginning, the birth of something, maybe a wonky childhood, some abuse, wild teens, the terrible 20s, not the terrible twos, and you feel like you need a proper chronological start. And it's like you're trying to write your life in order with a CV full of feelings and events. Um, or you're staring at the who you are now, the work that you do. You're in your zone of mastery, not your zone of brilliance. You've got a title on your website. It shows up on all of your socials. And this is the version that you can explain down the pub on a girls' or a boys' night out. And what you do is you try to reverse engineer a book out of this story that you have created. But the problem is all of this, all it's doing is keeping you stuck. So whether you've got a I don't know where to start or I've got millions of stories, really both of them are a very tidy version that has no heartbeat, it has no life, it has no resonance, and no amount of CPR is going to bring whatever it is you're trying to do to life. So what we find is the story that wants to leap out is rarely the neat one that we try to manufacture. It's a moment when something perhaps rattles your cage, and it might be a big moment, or it might be quite a small moment, but it changes your life, and it still might be kind of like an undercurrent still doing that work. There's something really, really deep inside. It's a story that changed your life. And it's stories like this that often then change your work. And without a doubt, the reader, when they make their way through the real story and the wisdom that you've gained from it. But you can't find the beginning of this because it's where your defenses lie. And I'm talking from experience. So I've got a book that I want to write, that I tried to write, that I have written. I have got the same story written so many times. And it's been really, really healing. You know, and of course it's been healing. And I've written so much around this subject, but whenever I've written it, the stories seem to start in childhood instead of the realization point. So what we're going to do today is we're not going to start at the beginning. We're just going to start with a scene. So as an example, mine starts in the bathroom in this house that I'm living in now. And it's a few weeks after my spine had fractured. My body was distorted, and I made myself look in the mirror. And I can tell you it was hard, and I can still feel myself choked up about it, because what I know that comes out of starting at this point is that I'm not writing a whole life. I'm writing about this moment. Then I'm writing about another. And what is happening is my life is assembling itself behind you. And I'm not really looking, I'm not really searching. I find that moment, and when I write, the rest appears. And it's not like some grand arc. We find the story in the small moments. And these are the ones that you normally walk past and really quickly, because we don't want to linger because of what we might find. But actually what we find is pure gold. So what we're going to do today is try to find one of these moments for you. So before we start to write, we really have to do something with our body and do something with our breath. So if you've got a cuppa and you've been having a cup of tea, I've got a nice cuppa. Scoffing the biscuits, put the biscuits away. Oh, and if you're doing anything that is distracting you, put it away. Clear desk policy. I used to work in IT and manufacturing, and we had clear desk policy. So everything is just nice and lovely and clear. And we just let our hands drop to our lap. Oh, just take a breath. Take a breath. And then bring your shoulders up and let them drop. And you might want to do that a couple of times and clench your jaw. Every time I do that, I can hear my jaw. I can hear my jaw really, really tight. And then I want you to take one really beautiful, deep, deep breath right down into your belly. And let it all go. Let it all fall out. So you're not writing a massive book right now, nor are you planning it, although you might want to. You're not choosing the opening chapter or working out the structure. And take a breath. You're just a human being about to look closely at a moment, and that's all that is. So just kind of let everything go. So today's question is, when did something change? It's not the whole era, not the decade, it's a moment. Perhaps there was a phone call, someone said that you have never forgotten. Or like me, it was a mirror moment. And there's a second that you knew. Perhaps you heard a door close them, or a look on someone's face across the room. So just pick one and come right inside that moment. So there's no run up. You don't need to explain what led to it. It's just that moment. You don't write to try and understand it. You know, what we're trying to do is just step into the scene and write it as if the reader is already right beside you. They're standing there in that moment with you. Don't tell me what it meant. Show me what was there. Not it was a terrible day, but perhaps there was a chipped cup. Perhaps there was a misted up mirror that you wiped your hand over and noticed something. Perhaps you were looking out of the window and there was rain splattering on the panes. So were you holding something? So it's that exact moment when it felt like you were standing on the earth and it rocked. Okay, so set a timer. You might want to do it for 5, 10, or 15 minutes. So set that timer, pause this video, and get yourself ready to go and write. Okay, and welcome back. Put down your journal if you've written in a journal, and your pen or fingers off the keyboard. Breathe in and let it go. So, how did that feel? So, two things might have happened. Both of them are absolutely okay. So, there might have been a scene that pulled you forward. You might have, hit the end of your timer and your hand wanted to keep going. Pay attention to that pull, that tug, and the direction that it wanted to go in. That story has chosen you. You want to keep going. So that scene might be your opening, it might be chapter 1, or it might be just a small part of something the book eventually grows around. And what about if it went nowhere? What if it fizzled, felt flat? Halfway through, you're like, oh God, I can't write this. This is not working for me. That is fantastic. You haven't failed at anything. In fact, congratulations. You have now received a whole pile of information. You've had a quiet window or a door opening into a scene that clearly wasn't the one. And that means you can close the door on that and choose something else. So nothing that you've written is wasted. Everything that you've written is worth something, and discovering it kind of doesn't have legs for the moment is really, really good. So my invitation now is perhaps go for a walk, take some time to reflect. Don't reread just yet. And when you come back to have a look at it, you're not reading with an editor's eye. You are not being critical. You're not judging. You don't make any decisions about, is this the start? Meaning rarely shows up when you're actually writing, because there's this lovely unconscious flow. It turns up 3 days later. It turns up with your hands deep in the washing up liquid. For me, it always turns up on a walk for the dogs. I'm not one of those people who stands in the shower and gets a eureka moment. Mine is always out in the Rambler, in the wild of the countryside with my dogs. They're off sniffing, and my mind goes on its many, many wanders and tangents. So this is just take some time to reflect. And when you've done that, then you can come back and see where it goes. So my invitation is to come back to this channel and write with me again when you feel called to do so. So I'm Dale, and I am guide and facilitator for the Soul Writers Lounge and Memoir School. So for me, it is all about story. It is all about the pen and when the ink hits the page. So have a beautiful day.